Well, this is great. Here's a first blooper for this video is I was doing the video and forgot to hit record. Yay, go me. All right, so this is going to be video number 1 in a series of maintenance on older Toyotas. So the old 4Runners, pickup trucks, Land Cruisers, things like that. Generally geared towards, 95, 96 and older. But some of this, of course, is going to apply to things a little bit newer. Maybe not brand new though, because all of that stuff is sealed and not really accessible. Older cars, there's a lot more things to do and pay attention to, which is nice because you can maintain them and not just wait for the part to fail, but it also takes more work on our part. So let's get right to it. This is going to be video number 1. This is going to be the routine maintenance. So every 3,000 miles or 3 months, the oil change schedule. So number 1 on the older cars, you want to stick to that schedule. Some people go to synthetics and extend that a little bit. That's your choice. But I tend to stick mostly to that schedule as best as I can, regardless. And so far the results are good, 330,000 miles so far on mine and over 200,000 miles on my 90s Ford. So, and for oil, I use high mileage Valvoline, if you want to know. So let's get started. So oil, like I said, I use the high mileage Valvoline. I've gotten really good results. I'm really happy with it. Been using it for years. So use it if you want. You don't have to though. Use the recommended weight though. So this is 10W30. Unless you're living in extreme environments, really cold, really hot. I see a lot of questions about changing engine weight oil just out there on forums and things like this. There's no need to do that. It's whatever car you have, stick with what's recommended unless, it's critical. Otherwise, like I said, extreme environments or there's something really wrong with your engine where in the old days when engines would get worn out, the old V8s and stuff, we would dump heavier weight oil in there. It would just extend the life a little bit, but you're on borrowed time. So if you're changing it because there's something wrong with your engine, you're on borrowed time anyway. So, yeah. Maybe it's time to do the repairs if you can, but if you're buying time before you junk it, or with these old ones, don't junk them anymore. Sell it to somebody who needs the parts cheap. The junkyard will give you 50, 100 bucks. Maybe some other guy will give you twice that, right? For the parts. So, or more than twice. These things are getting expensive. All right. So oil change, use good quality filters. I use the Toyota brand. So you can get them at the dealerships. At some dealerships sell online or Amazon. I think Amazon has them as well. So that about covers it for oil changes. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. If you need help with oil changes, let me know. I'll shoot a video doing it. So while I'm up here, what else do I do? So I always check the air cleaner every oil change, the air filter inside. So you pop this open. There's just 3 little latches. Pop those off and look. If it's dirty, replace it. If you're extreme duty, you're off-roading a lot, overlanding, that kind of thing, you might have to change it more often. So you check it during and after every trip, and even during the trip. And but it's good to check because weird things even happen. I had one time that underneath the air filter was filled with all kinds of hood insulation because a mouse or something was trying to make a nest. So you never know. But I wouldn't know if I didn't look regularly. Next, checking the brake fluid level. Make sure it's full. But don't take the cap off unless absolutely necessary doing a service on it, because brake fluid is very absorbent. It absorbs moisture like a sponge. So if you pop it off every so often, moisture is going to get in there, and the last thing you want in your brake system is moisture. So we just look through the side, make sure it's full, and then we concern ourselves with the quality of the fluid when it's time to service this and flush it, which we will go over in another video when we talk about more extended maintenance. So just check it, make sure it's good, because you want to know if you're having leaks in your brake system, obviously. And then, of course, check coolant level and coolant quality. So you can look through the side at the measurements. I don't know if we'll be able to see that, but not really. But down here on the side, there's indicators of hot, full, and not full, where it should be when it's cold and hot, probably. And you could also pop this off and have a look down there. And also check the quality of the coolant. Is it clean, right? If it's all cruddy, you're either way overdue on a change or you got another problem going on. So you want to look at, make sure the coolant is in good shape and clean. If you have one of those specific gravity testers, they're cheap with a little bulb on it. You could check that every once in a while too. I change mine often enough, probably every 2 years or so, where I don't need to worry about that too much. Take a look around the top of the radiator, make sure there's good integrity, there's no leaks, and the backside and everywhere you can look. Check, make sure there's no like even little pinholes, you know, no crusties on here. It's a sign of the radiator getting old. And we'll talk about radiators more, about the super extended maintenance, because these things do get old after many years and they get brittle, and they can, Land Cruiser guys know these things can blow up. Make sure the cap's in good shape. So you really want to take a look at that gasket and make sure that it's clean and not corroded or old or breaking apart at all, because that will cause leaks. And you can see my antifreeze is full and very clean. And yes, I use green. I know there's a big debate on it, but green is fine as long as you're not mixing. That's the big thing. Check all your hoses, right? And you could give them a little squeeze. They should be pretty stiff, you know, not too spongy. And right where it meets, there's the metal inside there from the radiator. Right at this junction here and right here too, look for bulges. So you don't want any bulges, because then that means the hose is breaking down, time to change it. And the one down below too, check that. And also go through and check all of your hoses, all of your connections and everything, because, you know, just kind of look at all these vacuum hoses. Make sure they're still flexible, pliable, they're not cracking, you know, brittle or anything. And you give a quick look over to make sure that there's no holes or cracks where you're having vacuum leaks. That's a big thing. These 90s cars had tons of vacuum lines. It's crazy. So keeping on top of that is really helpful. So checking all those, checking all these, you know, where it meets, make sure everything's connected and all that stuff. Yeah, and check your spark plug wires too. Make sure they're not old, cracking or anything like that. These things can get just kind of old and degrade, and you don't even see the cracks, but they'll start arcing, and you'll get poor spark or poor running without even realizing what's happening. Power steering fluid level, checking that. Just pop that off, make sure it's full and clean, you know, not too messy. Check all your belts, make sure that they're in good shape, they're not too worn down or cracking, and that the tension's good. So you can just put a finger on there, give it a little push. There can be about an inch deflection or so. Battery terminals, make sure they're clean, not all crusty. There's not all that white acid stuff all over. You could clean these with baking soda and water. The baking soda neutralizes the acid, so it makes a really good cleaner for batteries. And then just, again, familiarize yourself with how everything looks under here, so that, you know, you have a mental picture of how everything's supposed to be. You know, fan clutch works good. There should be a little resistance. There's no cracks in the fan or anything else. All that kind of stuff. Just everything looks good, right? So the more you look under here and do your own work, the more familiarity you're going to have. So you'll recognize when something isn't right, or, you know, or something's changed. So, all right, that's kind of the basics for under the hood. And now we'll move on to more maintenance. So we've drained the oil, changed the filter, refilled the oil, right? So now we have chassis lubrication. So on your steering and suspension, you're going to have these things here. They're called Zerk fittings, right? So that's where you have to grease. You use a grease gun, you just snap it on there, give a few squeezes. So on these, they have a rubber boot. And this is steering and suspension. And you want to pump enough in there to where the old grease starts to come out, right? And then give it a wipe off so your grease isn't flying all over your car. That's just lazy and messy. So always work neatly. And so once the old dirty grease starts to come out, you can stop. Some people pump those things full until the grease runs clean. You can do it either way and not hurt it. So that's on the steering. That's on the steering arm there, pivot arm. And then oftentimes on the ball joints you'll have them. So there's one up there. My lower ball joint on here doesn't have it, and my tie rod ends don't have it. But it's different on all cars, right? It depends. You know, Toyota changed all this stuff a long time ago for me for free with the steering recall warranty thing. So they gave me all these new parts, even though they didn't have to. That was really nice of them. But they put ones in here that didn't have fittings. So at some point, when I change it out myself, if and when the need arises, I might find ones with a Zerk fitting. So that's going to be the same on both sides. So this is the front wheels, in case I didn't explain that. And we'll take a quick peek at the other side. So again, the same thing as Zerk fitting up there. And where else on this side? That's it on this side. So again, I don't have one here on the idler arm thing. So, but check all of those connections and joints and see where yours has them. And on these older cars, I like to, typically my preference is to get components that have those, just so that I can keep maintaining it. I think they last longer than the sealed ones ultimately. And again, with maintenance on these, I grease every time I do an oil change. If I'm doing a lot of off-road travel, overlanding, off-roading, especially water crossings and stuff, I go ahead and grease it after the trip, just automatically. And see, I'm under here often enough that I know what everything looks like, and I'm seeing this look really damp here, so I'm going to check and see where that came from. That might just be because mine's greasable, and it might just be grease leaking out the ends, because I just pumped it full not too long ago, because I'm not seeing anything wet higher above. But it's right by the power steering, so we'll take a look at that. So what I would do now, so you're seeing in the moment, right? This is why we do our work ourselves. Let me give that a wipe off. Now let's take a look. See, that is low. So in live action, I've discovered I have a power steering leak that I did not have before. So for now, I'm going to probably get some of that power steering stop leak stuff. I forgot which kind I was using, but I'll know the bottle when I see it. I did it a long time ago, and I also pulled off this canister and replaced the seals underneath the reservoir, because that's what usually goes bad on these. Usually it's not a whole rebuild you need, it's just the seal that goes underneath the reservoir. 99% of the time that's what's happening. But it doesn't look like that now. I doubt that would fail again that quickly. Yep, so it's something further down that I can't see right now. Sorry, I'm getting my light in the way. And I'm not going to go into it too much now because I don't want to make this video really long, but yeah, it's going to be down below somewhere. Might finally be time for a rebuild. But we'll suss that out later. Alright, continuing on. That's the kind of stuff you run into having a car. So this part I often do while I'm down here changing the oil. You know, getting at the drain plug and filter and stuff. So again, get familiar with everything that's under here. And yes, the bottom of my transmission is always just a little bit damp. I think on a 30-year-old car, that's normal. It's just damp. It's not even dripping, really. get familiar with how everything looks down here. So I can already see where this clip here failed. So I'm gonna have to zip tie that or something. That's different. It wasn't like that before. So you notice all these little things. So if you look over everything while you're down here, you can get ideas. So even exhaust mounts, like the rubber right there, making sure that the rubber is in good shape, etc., etc. They're not cracked or broken, all those kind of things. So get familiar with the underside of your car, knowing what's going on. So, right, that's the oil drain plug there. And then transmission fluid level. So you pop off that plug right there, and you just stick your finger in there and feel and make sure it's full. Same with the transfer case, right? And then sometimes the transfer cases are combined, sometimes they're separate. So this one is, but the plugs are on the other side. So we're gonna have to take my word for it. But check the level of your transfer case and transmission. And then you do have several fittings of those Zerk fittings that need to be greased on your drivetrain, on your drive shaft. So you can see that one on top there, and that greases the slip joint here. So just a few squirts, and in these you don't want to squirt them full. You just need a squirt or two in there every time, and it'll be plenty. So because if you and then there's more Zerk fittings for the U joints. So there's one in there. I'm not sure if I can find it or not. This needs a good clean off with some brake clean too, because the grease does come out. Yeah, right up in there. So see that Zerk fitting there? And you will have to rotate it to get it to where you could fit your grease gun on there. So this one up here greases the slip fitting, and this one in here greases your U joints. And just a squeeze or two, because if you start squeezing enough where grease is coming out of these things, you're blowing out the seals, and that's not ideal. So you just want to put a little bit in there each time. And then check the fluid level on your front differential. And then check your boots, your CV boots. Make sure that they're not split, broken, or wearing out, because those you want to keep in good shape, because that's not the most fun fix. I do have an oil leak. You can see it's wet here, and I think it's from higher up. I think it's the rear cam seal or a valve cover, because I've done everything down here. That's going to be in another video, though. That's going to be, there's a whole bunch of refreshing I'm going to do on this thing. So again, you have the same things back here. You have the Zerk fitting right there for the slip joint, and there'll be one inside of your U joint as well. And then go to the back and do the same thing. And then check the fluid level on the rear differential also. Okay, I wanted to show you on the differentials on these, when we're inspecting those, that these have no rear cover on the back, like most differentials do from most manufacturers. So these have just a fill plug and a drain plug, and they actually have a drain plug, which is nice. So you drain it there, and then you fill up here. And to check the fluid level, you just take this out, and you can stick your finger right in there and just make sure that it's filled up to the bottom of the drain hole. And then, you know, check the quality of the fluid too, make sure it's clean and that the color is right, especially if you go, you know, do a lot of water and mudding and things like that. You want to check that frequently and often, make sure there's no water in there. It'll look milky if there is, and change it out right away. But for daily use, you know, follow the maintenance schedule, the change schedule. Otherwise, just check and make sure it's full. And as always with all these things, check for any leaks. So you'll check up at the pinion up there, and also at the end of the axles by your brakes on each side are the most common leak areas, and the drain plug as well. And that's it. Nice and easy on those. Under the car, you know, you can periodically check brake lines, the rubber brake lines, shocks for leaks, brake lines for any leaks or seepage. Your emergency brake cables, which I'll go through this system here. So you could follow those all the way around. This is the one that goes up to the lever inside, and then it pulls these cables that go to the back. And this is where you adjust it to, by the way. It's a little bit of a trick, but not too bad. I need to do that as well. So anyway, this video has gone on for 20 minutes, and I think that put questions, comments, anything like that below. If there's anything I didn't cover, then I can't remember it all, but it is just getting the big overview too. You want to check everything out, especially those of us that travel in these things, do overlanding and all that. Getting the bigger picture will help us avoid problems while out on the road or on the trail. So yep, sorry for the messy camera work, guys, honestly, but it's what I have at the moment. We're just being casual. All right, yes, let me know, give me feedback below. If you like these, you want me to continue, that kind of thing. I'm gonna anyway, but this is what a lot of you have been asking for. So let me know if it was helpful though, and feel free to ask questions. And guys, help each other out, answer each other's questions as well. I try to get to them all, but sometimes takes me a bit of a while. Yeah, so we'll do our best. All right, talk to you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, and if you like this stuff, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. It just gets these videos views, that kind of thing. It makes YouTube magic trickery stuff happy. So all right, take care, guys. Bye.